Yo, yo, my
I understand.
sovereigns, what up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet, with episode 105 of Splinterlands 101. Joining us once again, co-hosts of the show, finest gentleman who ever lived, Matt Clark.
Howdy, howdy.
The man behind the Pouffet Poussey Geotrix.
How are we, gentlemen?
And if you guys caught any of our episodes with Flowy, when we were discussing like the whole land side, and I dropped some comments like, wow, this would be a great opportunity for someone who knows what they're talking about to get into consultative role. And Flowy goes, oh, there are already people doing that. And he dropped a name, and I thought, well, we need to get this guy on the show. So, Unote a nosotros desde Colombia. Bienvenido, Eco Instant.
Oh, well, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Really great to be here. Beautiful sunrise here in Colombia. We are on opposite sides of the world, but I'm happy to be here. And those episodes with Flowey were really good, I thought. And I am excited about land. And so maybe we could just go around the horn and like give a few seconds about how we're doing with land. I see Matt Clark is creeping up. He's in the Broken Lands with me.
Yeah, I passed 130,000 research points today. So Blewett mentioned on Twitter that he just beat me to 100,000. Kind of called me out a little bit, I'll be honest. He'd run a spreadsheet and said, "Oh, these are the people that I got to 100,000 before me. I just arrived only just before Matt Clark," and so he tagged me on Twitter. So I thought, well, I'll race you to 200. So now we're racing to 200, which has got me burning SPS a little bit faster than I was hoping to, but it's all good. So let me check Tim. I've reached 130. I'm really hoping that my current pace is enough to hit 200k before he does. But I'm still only about 1% of my land is actually being cultivated at the moment. I got a heap of land and not much else.
You got a ton, yeah, and it is really about the pace, right? With that research per hour, it's a pacing challenge. You know, I've been kind of going the other. We took all of our magic lands and activated them first. I'm not so sure about these prefix titles. I think I understand that they're not permanent, but we wanted to get that. And so we're in position now, and now I'm actually kind of backing off, you know, like what if I move the totems from magic over to the other ones, you know? And I was doing some calculations, and like, even if somebody was to like go ahead of me, let's say 10 research per hour, it would be months and months before they caught up. So it's really a pacing challenge. It's good that you're jumping on that. Jump on it now.
What about you, Gio? How are you doing with the land?
I haven't checked in a little while, and yeah, I just claimed today I'm doing okay. I think I got like 150, 60,000 grain, but I did use 60,000 to get the plots in the other region in Shimmering Coast up and running, and I think I got like 1,600 research, maybe a little less at the moment. Yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm liking it, man. I'm just trying to, like you said, pace myself, and that's it. That's all I'm doing, man.
So each week when we come on, you've got usually a couple more plots than you had the previous episode.
I've slowed down a lot. Like, I'm not buying into Rebellion at the moment. I'm sitting on several thousand SPS, just liquid. I'm sort of waiting right now. I'm happy where I am, you know, in my situation. And yep, I'm just waiting, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm just on the sideline.
Yeah. So these two guys talked me into doing a little unstaking with my SPS on the last episode. So I had 4,500 SPS unstaked yesterday at 3.8 cents, and then I spent it, and it dropped to 0.35 cents, and I thought, oh, was that me? Yes, SPS But I got myself a level 3 Possibilis, a level 3 Astral Entity. I got Phineas Rage up to gold level and my Septic Slime up to gold because I'm playing at gold.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm only leveling to gold level. If I ever get into diamond again, I used to play in diamond until the SPS staking requirements came in. So now I'll play at gold. So one good side of that is I only need to level cards to gold. So 4.5k SPS gone in about 15 minutes. And I checked in on my land and everything was at 100%. So I thought, oh shit. So I harvested my plots. It's the second time I've done that. I usually do it around about 85 to 90, but I just checked in. Everything was 100%. It's like, oh no, better harvest. So I harvested real quick. So I've only got 5 plots. My main focus is on research, and production wise, it's like triple what any of my other grain plots are. So yeah, focusing on the research. And what about yourself, Eco?
Nice.
And Eco, you were mentioning you went big on Untamed and then sold up.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that kind of made me somewhat legendary, but I got into Splinterlands. I saw it with the alpha and the beta, and the card game. It was hard to get me excited. Even to this day, I'm very reluctant to get into new things, and like the games really have value? I don't know. But I pulled the trigger with the Untamed Kickstarter and put in, which was a lot of money for us at the time. I think it was like 2,700. Got like the 2,500 and a few extra packs. And actually, for a small moment there, took on a little bit of debt. I was able to service it quickly, but kind of went into debt to do that. And it worked out really, really well. Splinterlands, in a certain sense, has changed our lives. 2 years ago, a little bit 2-ish years ago, I just noticed that we had like $75,000 worth of Splinterlands assets, and I thought, wow, that's way too much money in there. And so I happened, and it could be lucky. I mean, I'm not a crystal ball kind of guy, but it just felt to me that this was the time that those cards should become other things. And we ended up actually buying a neighboring property. We expanded our farm here. We got 3 more hectares, and we're able to build a new house, kind of a cabin. And so it really did change our lives. And so now, I guess I consider what I have in the Splinterlands ecosystem kind of a free ride. I want to manage it responsible, but this is all just a blessing. And so, and it's made me kind of study a little bit more the Splinterlands ecosystem and how intricate it is, the mechanics, and they have more than one token. I'm sure anybody listening to this is familiar, so I won't keep it too general. But with the new flywheel mechanics, it's really interesting. And then I kind of bought the dip on SPS at around 2 cents, and it kept going down to like 1.5 cents, and one day I was like 1.4. I'm like, oh gosh, but I can't be too mad, because just a couple $100, at this point, it's just, again, it's still free riding. I put some money back in, but I'm still basically free riding. But wow, it's just this bear market. It's been a pretty rough bear market, but I do other things. So we have a farm, and we work. We grow medicinal plants. We grow some coffee, some different fruits, and so I have something to do when it's time to turn off the computer. I sharpen my machete up and I go and prune my bushes, and I have somewhere else to focus my mind, which has been important in the last 2 years. And now it's really looking exciting to me again. I just pulled up, when you mentioned 3.8 cents, I just pulled it up. It looks like it's about 3.5 cents right now. Um, and the company needs to buy some DEC soon too.
Mm.
Um,
They're
so
low.
they might be pushing that back to peg. So anyways, I was super excited to be in the ecosystem. I'm going to take a step back. I began playing D-City when D-City came out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with D-City. It was made by Gerber, and it's an interesting project. Not everybody gets it. It's kind of been through a number of phases. But one interesting thing is Gerber invested his share from D-City into Splinterlands and basically blew up the fund. According to him, he keeps saying that all of the money on my account, which he got from making D-City, his share is the fund for the game. And so he gives us chaos packs through different mechanisms and he makes it work. But the D-City has been so well funded because of Splinterlands. Um, over the cycles, I was able to become kind of a top player in D-City. And through that, people started reaching out to me. Hey, can you manage my city? I can't pay attention enough. Manage my city. And so I met some people. And one of those people I met was A. Brockman. I started managing his city. And I guess I did pretty well because then we proposed the idea that I would manage some more assets for him. And just last year, about middle of the year, he said, "Hey, would you be interested in managing my region for Splinterlands?" And so I went and I looked and I said, "Yes, I am very interested in this." And so we've been, I think, uniquely. Not everything is unique, but as a package, I think we're doing kind of one of the most unique strategies. We have the region and I have been swapping other players in, small players mostly, if they have a few plots. I don't want to trade any magicals or occupieds, but common naturals, rare naturals, even I've done some epic naturals. Come on in, work with us. And this has resulted in us having plots all over Pretoria. You know, we have still 900 or 897 plots in our region, Pandon Reach, Region 41. But that means we have 103 plots somewhere else. And one of the things I've been doing is I've been swapping with people for a small premium. I'll give you the plot that you want right next to your plot, and you just give me that plot anywhere. And it turns out that anywhere, there's usually somebody who wants that plot too. So I've been brokering swaps all around Pretoria to make $2 or $3 or $5 a premium, depending on the swap. And that I've made a couple of $100 already just swapping around Pretoria, and it's such a unique strategy. I don't know, what the ROI on a region is for a couple $100, but it seems to me a unique value add to the ecosystem. So anyways, yeah, ask me some questions or let me know what regions you want. I'll swap you my plots.
I have one. It's funny how not even funny. It's just interesting. I find interesting how you mentioned we. Who's we?
Okay, well, in different cases, it's different. In the terms of the region, that is me and Abe Brockman. So I am in the Discord, I'm regional manager eco.
Okay.
I kind of did the land like I did some other things. I didn't get into land. That's a money grab. $15. Oh my gosh, what a money grab. And then, oh my gosh, so I swapped the golden chicken. That was a good trade I did. I bought up a bunch of golden chickens, the furious chicken.
Nice. Yeah.
So I swapped I think the second to last golden chicken I swapped for a plot. And I think at some point I bought a plot. So I had two. And it was, not cheaply, in the kind of going up phase. Well, then they got crazy. I don't remember exactly what I sold them for, but I sold those two plots because the price was ridiculous. And then I just didn't have land anymore. Right now, I personally do have, I think, 11 plots. I swapped 5 of my plots into Pandon Reach. And that's what I'm able to manage. I don't think I could do a sixth or a seventh. I just
Yeah.
only have so many cards, and
Yeah.
on a personal level, I have a certain limit of what I can invest.
Uh,
But I'm managing for in the we sense for Abe Brockman. He often tells me he's got way too much money invested, but it was his really first boom. I think he maxed out an alpha set, like, oh, this could be interesting. And at some point it was, millions of dollars, or at least the screen told him it was millions of dollars. And oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah,
Right. So
Yeah.
he's asked me to help him manage that. He's also asked him, we've been talking about it. He's also asked me to help him take profits when the time is right. So I'm going to be trying to help him with that. But we do sometimes. It hasn't really been the right time, but there have been times. For example, we've sold a certain type of asset for moving your SBS into cards. We haven't done that yet, but we did sell some totems, and we bought a whole bunch of Max Chaos Rare reward cards. And so we've been filling out our region. We have, I think, with the ones under construction, we got like 420 of 897. That's what we're working with right now. So
oh,
still room to grow, but I feel like we're one of the
yeah,
top people. A lot of people. Matt Clark here is 1%, which is tough. It's a money sink, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
I help him by trying to figure out how not to invest fresh money, instead try to churn it into a better implementation of what he's already got, which is, I think, for people like us, maybe not Matt. Matt's a rich guy, but people like us, it seems like way too much money in the
yeah.
ecosystem. But they need help, and I'm happy to help. And
It's
I bet
awesome.
we split the profits, so
Yeah.
that has made me really happy. I live in South America, in Colombia, as we mentioned, so my costs of living are really low. Which for anyone else out there listening to this, that has been, to me, my secret to success is first getting a really low cost of living, and then I could kind of have more flexibility to see what I wanted to do. I don't think I would have gotten into crypto if I had to do a 9 to 5. I don't think I would have had the mental energy to do what I've done. So, and now with clients like Brockman, I can play with other OPM, other people's money.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's a very interesting, in a very interesting position to be in, right? I don't know too many who are managing for people who have assets in game. It's rare to me.
Yeah.
The rarest part is trust. And we've talked about this a lot because there are no good ways to do this. There's no
Yeah,
delegation up yet. There's you can't even use your own, on your own land, you can't even use delegated cards. So there's no good way. We had to have developed trust going back now almost 3 years. Um, and I guess there are some incentives. I mean, we've kind of joked about it, that I would make a lot more money working with him than doing something stupid right now.
yeah,
But it does require trust. I recommended to him, and he moved a lot of assets around. So limit your risk. Like, I'm trustworthy, but you need to get all of this other stuff off of this account. Limit your risk, and then just in case people are wondering, this is an active permission. So even if you hacked me, he has some protection, because you can't actually log in to Splinterlands with just the active permission. So even if I was technically hacked, he would still be somewhat protected. Um, but again, there's trust involved, and there's risks always with crypto. But yeah, and to have enough to need a manager kind of is a risky business all of itself.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's Matt has been talking like right from the beginning in using the analogy of Splinterlands to like NASCAR. And he's saying, you know, in NASCAR, there's only a few people actually drive. Then you got the hot dog vendors, you got the gardeners, you got the manager, like, and he says, no, Splinterlands is going to turn into this, and we're seeing this already. And another point Matt has always stressed, and you're saying like on the trust side, you know, brand recognition of who you are, which is a big difference between, you know, your name, you're Matt Clark, or I'm going to do some P2P trading with Pussy Smasher 3000. You're like, you know, there's a big difference, like, you know, as far as who you can trust, you know. Yeah.
Right, that's exactly right. And you know, I have a few other projects. I've been experimenting with tokens, and I like a fund model. I still am kind of unsure about tokens that have value because reasons. I like to say, well, this token represents a share in these assets, and that to me makes a lot of sense. It's an old world model with new technology. And so I have some projects like that, and it has gotten to the point with some swaps, for example. I you send first. Look in the feedback P2P. I'm doxed on Hive. I have all these projects. Like my reputation at this point for more than one thing, basically everything I do depends on the fact that I've never scammed anyone and I never will. My whole life depends on it at this point. So
Yeah.
I have a lot to lose in terms of reputation.
It's
Where
everything.
Pushy Smasher probably doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great name.
Yeah. But,
Yes,
like,
I'm still giggling about it.
it's but brand recognition in any, because you know when Steam Monsters first got started, there was only P2P. It was, you know, there was no market, there was no other way to trade, and so when you're trusted, then you get two people go to Matt and say, hey Matt, we want to swap cards, but I don't trust him, he doesn't trust me, but we both trust you.
Yeah.
So getting that kind of brand recognition is huge. In this kind, we were talking with a Filipino. Oh, gee, what's his name?
BMO, right?
BMO, and like,
BMO.
because there's a huge Filipino community in Spinlands, and he's working on that within his community as a person that people who don't know each other, they can go to him as a middleman. So he was, you know, identifying that need in a, because a lot of the Splinterlands community in the Philippines actually know each other from RL events where they go to hotels and lobbies and they meet, and then their relationships get into the game from that. Whereas in Australia, it's, you try and get someone out of their house in the evening to go somewhere. It's a, you know, a fight uphill.
It's a
Yes.
tall ask.
I find that in Colombia, it's a lot more social. People do communicate digitally on WhatsApp and other platforms, but to solidify an idea, it's almost like there needs to be a social reunion, physical.
Mhm.
Like no
Yeah.
action will be taken based on WhatsApp messages. And I don't know if that's cultural or what, like,
It's
because
called street smart.
yeah, well, maybe that could be. Maybe they're a little smarter than us.
Yeah.
But no, talking about the Philippine community, have you guys, I would recommend a guest, Level Up Life.
Yes, I've heard him
Really
on People's
interesting
Guild.
guy. Now,
Yep.
okay. Now, the thing I'm going to talk about that's so interesting is not his idea. But he is one of the leaders of the Team Philippines, Team PH.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they've done, and I think this is actually Mango Mayhem that has been leading this, but it's the Team PH has set up a third-party tournament model which is like they'll rent the cards. So they've got it all set up where you do a draw, you pick the cards, and the system rents them. So you buy in for $5 or whatever it is to buy in, 5,000 DEC, and the system will rent the cards based on your selections. You don't need cards to enter the tournament, is what I'm trying to say. And it's something that's really been missing, I think, in the ecosystem. And every time we talk about it, it's, well, we don't have the devs to do that. That's a great idea. Maybe a third party could do it. When I realized that a third party has done it, and I don't think a lot of people have noticed yet. So I would love either Mango. Mango, I think, is British expat living in the Philippines, or Level Up Life. I'd love for you guys to get them on and talk about. Give me one. Get out of here, dog. Get out of here. My dog thinks that we're playing this footsie game, and I'm like trying to push him out. No. Come on. No.
That's great.
Yeah, he's really enjoying it down there. You can't see on the camera, but a lot of action happening under my table.
What kind of dog?
So that would be something I would love to see promoted more, because I think that style of gameplay would be really cool for the game. I think I got sideways now too. Here we go.
Yeah, I heard. I've heard both Mango.
Eco, how did you get into crypto originally?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Bob, you're breaking up, bro. Hello, Bob.
Please tell me I'm still here.
Bob is gone.
He's out. He's outsies. Yeah.
Okay, Bob,
Am I back?
you're back.
Oh, good. I'm hotspotting
Yeah,
from my
broke up a
mobile
little
at the
bit.
moment, so yeah. Go ahead, Eco, with Matt's question.
Yes. When I moved to Colombia in 2009, I lived in Bogota for a while. I was teaching English. I came with no money, no idea what I was doing. So I got a job in the city, and I met a girl, and over the couple of years, she invited me to get to know her hometown, and she was finishing up her university and wanted to come back here. And I decided to finish up my university. I went back to Wisconsin and got into a distance program. And so at first it really, met my needs. I was able to get, it's a limited government assistance. It's really a loan, a low cost loan. But it's not enough to it's not enough to live in the United States. It is enough to live down here. And so I was able to take kind of arbitrage those costs of living. And I'm from a farming family. I grew up on a farm, and I started getting interested in the tropical farming. We got the farm, and what do you got to do? This is like 2013. What do you got to do? You got to do a blog. Everybody's going to want to know about what you're doing. And I started to make a blog. And so you know what that is like, right? Like, so, okay, install WordPress. Okay, like learn about things, and like, okay, well, to get the WordPress, you need a lamp stack. So you got to like install Apache and figure out. And so I spent like 3 years. I think I produced 4 blog posts in 3 years, but I almost kind of became a sysadmin. I kept having to update, and I learning command line commands to get to host a blog and have these 4 blog posts out there. I learned a lot about tech, and so I was a semi-tech savvy, but not really like a developer. But I was able to learn and figure it out. And so when I saw Steam, people had started talking about cryptos, and different ones were recommended. I kind of got the idea, but like, how do you get in? And so when I saw Steam, I was like, oh, wait a second. This blockchain is going to do all the hosting, It's going to stay updated itself. It's going to have my content in there forever. It just clicked with me. Someone who had just spent 4 years trying to host a vlog, having almost no time to write blogs. It totally clicked with me. And so I got into Steam and I was like, yeah, 10 cents. This is great. I was paying hundreds of dollars a year to do this. Like now they're going to give me 10 cents. This is fantastic. And so I started kind of just documenting around the farm and stuff. And, some of the posts got voted. I did a contest early about cleaning my banana trees. That was for the Marky Mark, had a Eating the Ugly Frog First contest. And so we had a whole photo documentary of us cleaning this the worst banana bunch that I hadn't cleaned in 2 years, and like we dug. And so it was like, okay, there's this contest. I have been avoiding this task. So I'm going to do this task that I really should have done a year ago. I'm going to take pictures and then I'm going to win a prize. I mean, like, as a farmer, it made so much sense to me. Like, I was literally getting bonus money for doing the things I should do and have been trying to do. It wasn't really about the money at first. And we rode that first bull market and no idea what we were doing, just up and down. And one thing that did happen was at that time, we participated in a selfie contest by Papa Pepper. Papa Pepper was one of the biggest users at that time. And he had a selfie contest. And this was like right up our alley. Like you had to post a selfie every day. Each day was a new challenge. And like, okay, we're farmers. We don't really have to like, this is what we're doing now. We are doing the selfies every day. And so my wife and I were in the contest. We were both the final 10 when the Steam dollar depegged and went to like $8. It turned out that the prize pool, the prize pool was up to 1,000 Steam dollars. Well, at one point, 1,000 Steam dollars was worth $10,000. And Papa Pepper said, wait, there's 10 of you. Do you all just want $1,000? And everybody was like, yeah, we do. Yeah. And so we won, and I didn't win. Like I cheated and had my wife win too. I mean, not cheated. We worked together, but we double won. And so that was like the first big thing. And that was like what got my wife on board. She was like, that was life-changing money for us at the time. Not as much as the Splinterlands last time, but like we converted that into some other cryptos. And here we had this situation. My brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he was riding mountain biking down the mountain from the town above us down. It's a road, but it's kind of a rocky road, and we would call it off-roading in the Western world. And so he was mountain biking, and he had an accident, and he broke his wrist. He was in the hospital. He had let his health insurance lapse, or he didn't do something right. And so we were in this situation where your brother's ready to go home now. You can pay us $300 and he can leave, or you can get charged $25 a day until you can pay the $300. He'll stay until you have $300, and it'll keep going up how much you need to pay. It was kind of like this weird health situation. And so we were able to take that reserve that we had and like save our brother. And that it was totally revolutionary to us. Like, okay, there's something special about this. We took pictures of ourselves all around the farm, and now we've changed a life, so that's really how we got into it. With little tiny things that in one rare moment become like life changing. Like we didn't generally have 300 extra dollars, and that's one thing. Like when I took this kind of leap of faith, like I was studying economics in the United States, and I one day had this vision of the cubicle that I was, I was in the 7th semester and I saw this cubicle and I just got really depressed. Like this is what I'm doing all this for, to live the rest of my life in a cubicle. I don't know that I don't know if I can do this. And so I decided to, take some time off and travel. And through that process came to be here. And so when we first started, we put every penny we had into the farm. We had no money to build a house, to like buy any extra groceries. We just like, okay, the farm produces some coffee. Let's sell that and we'll see, like we'll see what people deal with. And so we were poor, like real poor, like third world poor for several years. Um, and just with the blogging and its crypto steam, that started to change. And that's what changed it. Um, just now, 10, 11 years later, we're getting to the point in our system, because we transformed the whole system from monocrop to whatever it is we're doing here, permaculture or whatever. Just now, we're starting to get like crops of things that sell for money. And my lifestyle's a little more expensive now, so we're not quite there. But I think we could, if we wanted to go back, like if the internet went out, I think we would live now. We could live. We grow a lot of medicinal plants and different food that we eat, and we've learned a ton. But generally, that's a 7 to 10 year process. It's 7 if you know what you're doing. It's 10 plus if you figure it out as you go. And so crypto and this blogging, especially the blogging part of the crypto, is what has kind of given us that runway to do the transformations. And so I'm super grateful to the new technology, and I love what it's done to our life, and I actively try to promote it to other people. Like, how can you integrate this into your life? Can you blog about what you're doing? And because around here in the United States, at least, 10 cents is not motivating. But around here, 10 cents a day is kind of sounds like a savings plan. You know what I mean? Like, well, that's Christmas presents at the end of the year, that's something. And so it's
like
interesting.
Team Philippines when they talk about bag of rice a day.
Yes. I understand, Bob, that you are traveling to South America. Is there anything I can say to convince you to pop by, give me a visit?
Well, when we were talking on Discord, I was going to let these two fine gentlemen know that yes, I will definitely pop over and see you.
Fantastic. First beer's on me.
All right. And I wouldn't mind having a look at some of these medicinal plants that you're talking about as well.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and here's another cool thing. We were talking about blogging. The fact that you would come here is basically, in terms of blogging, it's a great marketing opportunity. It's practically a money-making opportunity for both of us. So you'll take pictures, I'll take pictures of you taking pictures, and
we'll make a video.
We'll make a video. Depending on when you show up, we could even record here. I got great Wi-Fi on the farm, so I mean we can whatever happens is cool with me. But this is great. I've been waiting. Okay, so I'm not totally keen. I'm not really a marketing guy, so I'm bad at pitching my own projects. But heading right off of the bull market, starting to drop, I launched a project called the Eco Bank, and it is like an investment fund where I buy land, and the token holders can participate in that process. And I'm the largest holder, which I like with my projects. If I'm not convinced, how is anybody else going to get convinced? But it's me slowly experimenting with tokens. It's something I was already doing. Let's see how the token works. And we were able to figure out some things legally. But since that point, I've been telling these investors, like, and the first person that comes, it's going to be great, so people can see it's real. And nobody's come because we just started this long bear
Yeah.
market, and we're gonna come later when we have money.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna be the first hiver to show up since I launched this project. So I'm really excited about it.
yeah. Yeah, so
Look at
far,
that.
my plans are completely open. Um, the final destination is Mexico, but I've only got flights booked as far as Cusco in Peru because I love Cusco. Absolutely love it. I've got people there I want to see. I've got friends who have, uh, him and his wife and his kids, they've bought this property, which is about a 30-minute collectivo ride from Ollantaytambo, which is one of my favorite places in all of Peru. So whether I'm in Cusco for a week, 2 weeks, a month, um, I'm totally able to just I don't want to have this tight itinerary where an opportunity is presented and go, oh, I can't, I'm leaving in 2 days, right? So
That's the way to travel.
yeah, from Cusco, when I decide, okay, it's time to go, I'm going to go to Colombia and I will come visit you. And then
Yeah.
from Colombia, I'm going to go to Guatemala. And
Yes.
you mentioned back in the high period of blogging. Well, I got into that from a friend of mine, Kurt. I don't know if you're into the Acapulco scene at all, but my friend Kurt has spoken there a couple of times. And he's Australian. He's been living in Mexico for about 8 years now. And he got me onto Steam originally. And then I started vlogging, and I was part of this Discord server called DTube Daily. And the whole thrust of it was that we would make a video, everyone in the server would make a video a day. And back then, Ned had delegated 2 million SP to DTube. So a DTube upvote was worth anything from $120 to $140. And we were all making a video a day. And I know people who were living in America who were paying their rent with their DTube videos, right? And one of the guys in the server there, we did a few projects together, specifically with Comedy Open Mic. His name is Buttcoins. I don't know if you're familiar with Buttcoins, but he
Yes.
has a
I mean, digitally familiar, but
yep,
yes.
he has a 28-room hostel on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. So I want to go visit him as well. So yeah, I'm going to be visiting some Javians. So I'm absolutely thrilled to come and visit you in Colombia. Absolutely thrilled.
Look at that. An
Excellent.
invitation.
Yes, and really open. And I
Yeah.
don't I don't not want you to feel special, but I've been literally begging people to come visit me.
Yeah.
And we connected. I mean, I know I've seen some of your episodes before. I've seen you share the Splinterlands 101. But really, we just connected recently through a name drop of another guest, and now you're going to be the first one to come visit me. So, life is kind of like that. You can't
It is,
plan.
especially my life. It is so synchronistic. It's unbelievable.
And that is the lesson for me for traveling, because that is when you really need to open yourself up to those synchronicities, or you're just going to have a rough time. Because, I mean, as hard as we try to plan our routine and our daily life, some of that's probably good. Some of that discipline is good. But when you're traveling, you really need to let the universe show you what it wants to show you, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to end up just grumpy and bitter, and you've spent all your money on traveling.
Yeah.
That's my experience anyway. The more I try to control a travel, the worse it goes for me.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of a collective consciousness, a higher consciousness, and the level of consciousness that we operate in, the more we try to control, we're bottlenecking. We're absolutely bottlenecking our potential. And I love a saying like the Sufis used to say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. You know?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so it almost seems like a religious. It almost seems blasphemous. Of course, it's the most true thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I bet that would give God a big old hearty chuckle. Oh,
Yeah.
you really think I can do
Yeah, you think
that?
that's gonna happen? Right.
It's like imagine trying to control the uncontrollable. Like-
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, I don't want to get religious on you guys, but I do feel like there's a certain class of religion that is kind of hyper control. It's like the opposite of that. Let the energy flow, kind of. And maybe that's where I come from. A lot of that Protestant work ethic. If you
Yeah.
just buckle down and work harder
Yeah.
in the
The more you suffer
cubicle,
now, the
you
better the
know.
next like the afterlife will be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so I definitely in my journey I've felt that opening up has been the right choice.
Yeah.
Opening up to that energy that could, flow through us all. And we talk about crypto, but that's one of the things that you mentioned DTube. Is any of your old DTube work? Is that still live, or did you lose all those videos?
So I stopped vlogging on YouTube quite a while back. During the pandemic, in Australia, it was bad, but the state that Geo and myself were both living in, Victoria, we had
Yeah.
full-blown tyranny. Like it was unbelievable. Like it was a police state, tyranny. And that was
Wow.
like my final decision. Okay, I'm getting out of Australia as soon as I can. And um, and where were we going? How did I just fell off
Well,
the
I
tracks?
did I went off with your I did
Ah,
some
DTube,
DTube
DTube.
and then
Yep,
be live,
yeah,
and I go back now and none of those links work.
yeah,
I was just experimenting at the time, and
yeah. I
so
never.
literally only the bucks that I made are printed from there. None of the content exists still.
Yeah,
I'd have to dig through my files. I may have some things, but that was one thing that kind of turned me off video. Like I liked the idea and I'm getting back into it now, but the video is not on the blockchain,
yeah.
and so you
It's
remember my
IPFS
journey was like
stuff.
posting it for me. That's the important part for me. And so the video has always frustrated me. Like I've done things, but now they're dead. And
Yeah.
I didn't know if you, because there was a certain transition with DTube where I think I didn't click a button that made it transfer my videos over. Maybe you did that. I was just
No.
wondering how that went.
Yeah. DTube were just because of the expense of servers, I guess. I think 3 months was the longest they would host a video for, and then they would delete it. And during the pandemic, I was making a lot because before I got into doing Splinterlands, the podcast, my videos were mostly of a philosophical nature, like alternative, conspiracy, philosophical, that kind of blend. And I went, as if you say here, I went in balls deep during the pandemic with my videos. And one of the main devs of DTube was like completely like in the matrix, and he didn't like what I was saying. He thought I was endangering people's lives by sharing my
Yeah.
opinion, and it's a pity because the guy that started DTube, Hyman Danger, he loved my stuff, right? But
Yes.
this other dev, Nanel, who was heavily invested with DTube Coin, he was downvoting my videos not only with his own weight, but he's got about 100 bot accounts as well. So my videos were all invisible, and so I just stopped. And then someone from One Love Tube, which is another one channel, says, "Why don't you get onto Three Speak?" So I changed across to Three Speak, and I've been super happy with them ever since. And like Eddie is like he's very open-minded as well. The whole Three Speak crew there. I mean, the whole idea of Three Speak was free speak, right? It's like very anti-censorship, and that they were really pushing that when they first got started. Hey, citizen journalism. This is what we're about. If you're somewhere, something's happening, record it, upload it. no censorship here. So I've been very, very happy with 3Speak. So if you want to get into videos again, I highly recommend them. Yeah.
I'm interested, and slowly kind of getting back into that now. Okay, I got two ideas. Let me go to the left here.
Mhm.
It's so important, the philosophy behind what we do, and I find it ironic that in an open source, in an open space, that they would shut down freedom of thought. That, and so I'm really happy that 3Speak has adopted a model, because there's things that people say that I don't like, and I recognize that. Generally, I'm one of them crazy conspiracy theorists, like probably you are, Bob. But
Yep, totally.
there's a
Yeah.
whole other world of people that think differently than I do, and I need to be okay with that. I need to accept that they have space to say, and so sometimes we say, like, it's better to let them say it so that we can all laugh at what they're saying, instead of blocking them and then, pretending
Yeah.
that doesn't exist. No, it does exist. And we need to deal with it. And one way is laughter, one way is constructive conversations. But it needs to exist. And so that I'm happy that exists now. That is sad to hear, uh, with DTube, and I guess I was already out of that base. So one thing I recently got invited into is called Hive Colombia, and so there's a push right now in Latin America to kind of onboard. Latin America is really a growing market, and on Hive we have a presence, some good presence, and it's most strong in Venezuela. And so some Venezuelans, Fermianico and Arlet Salas, came to Crypto Latin Fest, and there was some effort was made to make a call to Colombia users, and I got the call, and so I went, and they kind of gave us the blessing as Hive Colombia, and I'm the leaders of Hive Colombia, and working on some strategies to for onboarding. And one of those strategies has actually been just to middle of December. We filmed 30-ish short 2 to 3 minute videos, and we're calling it like a digital glossary. So I'm slowly putting those up on YouTube. Now I want to do Speak as well. But for now, I'm using YouTube, and I'm looking at how what's the best way duplicate content and stuff. But we have what is a DApp? What is a blockchain? And within these little videos, I mean, there are a few like what is Hive, but mostly they're general, like difference between a protocol and a user interface. So this I'll just for like 3 minutes on the difference between the protocol Hive engine and the interface Tribal Dex BSwap, and you got all these different interfaces talking the same protocol. Okay, but I drop little nuggets of Hive into the videos, but also Bitcoin and Ethereum. I drop little nuggets, but Hive is well represented there. I got the big Hive T on. And so that's one strategy looking at. I think that what you guys do is an important part of that process. I think that there's streamers and gamers. This is really interesting to people in Latin America, and so I'm really interested in taking that next step. Breaking out of my written content bubble and going back to video. And so I'm excited to hear that you've had good experiences with 3Speak, and I think maybe you know more than I do, but I think they're getting ready for some pretty big updates, right? With their IPFS monetization, the incentivization of the IPFS network.
Yes. Yeah. There's because there's in Discord there's the 3Speak channel, and then there's the 3Speak network channel. That's where
Yeah.
if you're interested in that, I'll send you a link if you like. That's where all the talk on that is going on. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I have I need to work out a pitch. Maybe you'll help me when you're here, because a lot of people at these crypto conferences are techie type people. And so far my pitch has been, hey, whatever you're doing on any chain at all, that's really interesting. You should blog about it on Hive. You should use Hive as part of your social media strategy. But more and more people are asking me about the technical aspects of it, and we don't have great documentation in Spanish. Some people say we don't have great documentation in English, but at least it's there. And so we're looking at where do we got to put our effort in? But I think that the Speak Network has, especially for these techie type people that know all about document storage, they host and they store things, taking that to the next level beyond content, I think it's be a game changer in the tech level.
Yeah. I'm not that technical, but I learn whenever I'm pushed into a new area, or I find myself in a new area. I learn what I need to do what I want to do. And so I mean, when I first got on the internet, dial up on a 486, I was using a website hosting thing called GeoCities, right? It was very, very basic templates. So I learnt Markdown or HTML out of necessity so that I could have a better page than other people. So, I just, if you reach a point and you come across a wall, you can either stop or you can start chipping away at the wall. It's like I'm a wall chipper as opposed to a window licker.
So Eco, one of my favourite topics you've touched on is the HBD circular economy developing in Sucre in Venezuela, largely because the bolivar is just rubbish. They really don't have an alternative. I think when you're stuck, when you don't have a good alternative that's just presented to you by the government, then you start scrambling and looking for other alternatives. What's it like in Colombia as far as the currency inflation? Do you guys have a reliable currency? Are you US dollar based? What's going on there? Is that sort of fertile ground for that reason?
It is. It's kind of funny. The Colombian peso has experienced some inflationary periods, not as bad as Venezuela. And in fact, it was kind of baked in, like the people just knew more or less 10% price cost next year, January, everything's going up 10%. And it just, and that to me as an American, that's a lot. 10%. Wow. But it kind of got figured out. So initially, it sold in Venezuela. It didn't sell here. Like we got the peso, we know what we're doing. Now it's really interesting. About a year ago, the dollar, for whatever weird Fed reason, was actually getting stronger during the pandemic. So we were at 5,000 pesos per dollar. Right now, the peso is actually strengthening against the dollar. We're up 40%. It's at like 3,800. And so it's kind of a weird position right now. So what happens now and I think about this a lot, actually. I've done some posts on it because we actually have some similar things, currency volatility with Hive and Hive to the dollar. And then you might say like SPS to Hive or any Hive engine token to Hive. That's where I have actually been able to make some money. So I trade a little bit differently on Hive engine. Most people think in dollars. I think in Hive. And so when Hive is really cheap, generally now I'm selling things for lots of Hive. And when Hive is very expensive, then I buy things for little Hive. And so I've actually made some trades, and it made me realize that not everybody's thinking like me. And so I'll give you the example. We were able to take dollars and buy land in Colombia, at 5,000 pesos per dollar. And so now, because it's gone back the other way, we're actually looking at selling one properties in the EcoBank. We're actually selling it for more money, but even if it was the same amount of pesos, we'd be up 32% or whatever in dollar terms. So there's these points of leverage. The issue is when it could always goes in one direction, like the Bolivar always gets weaker, right? So I actually went to Venezuela recently, and I found out I probably could have Googled this, but they have removed 3 zeros from the Bolivar, right? So 1,000 became 1. They've done that 3 times. So that's 9 zeros they've removed. And so that's a lot of zeros. It's a big change. And so actually uses Bolivars there. They do try to keep their savings in dollars. In fact, 2 of the neighboring states, it's very common that they'll use Colombian pesos. They do use a lot of dollar, although the dollar, I guess, is black market, right? It's not, you can't officially get dollars. And then everybody, what they'll do is they'll convert at the moment. So there was no cash because cash is tied to this worthless currency. People have an app and they convert at the moment and then pay in bolivars, right? And so it's really interesting. And the people at the airport, for example, they get paid in bolivars, but they get paid in dollars. So they get $5 per flight, and whatever day they get paid, they get bolivars at the rate of that day, right? But their salary is stated in dollars because everybody knows you can't have a salary in bolivars, but they do get paid in the bolivars digitally at the daily conversion rate. So it's a really interesting system that they've built around. And I think, in fact, we have a lot in Colombia, a lot to learn from them. Just this past cycle, it's becoming a lot more popular in Colombia. And I think it's for different reasons. Colombia is an innovation hub. And I think one of the recent richest people in Colombia started something called Nubank. And so there's kind of a tech savvy sector here. And I think they're jumping in from that direction. Like, how can we actually fix problems? And it isn't necessarily just the currency problem. Between me and you guys, it's not, it hasn't been as stable as the dollar, but it is something that goes up and down. And so it's stable enough for them. So that isn't what's brought them in, but they're looking for investment opportunities, payment opportunities, savings opportunities. So HBD is still an interesting thing for savings. And there's several apps coming on and that I've met with. I went to LATAM Blockchain Summit and Crypto Latin Fest. There's one called Corner Market, and I think they're going to be including HBD pretty soon here. And there's a couple other payment apps that I'm working to get like HBD in. And working just means having a Zoom call every once in a while and see how that's going. It's not like I'm not like punching a clock or anything, but I try to keep, I have a list of contacts that I've met with, and I try to keep up with them. And that's volunteer work. So this is the last thing I want to mention to your question. Hive is in this interesting situation, like too decentralized for our own good. I'm just pluses and minuses. And one of the minuses is we're disorganized and there's no like, and I tell people there's no CEO. I'm the CEO of EcoBank, but I'm not the CEO of Hive, you know. Hive doesn't have a CEO. There's no address that you can, you know, send the summons to, you know. there's no leaders because we fork founders. And in some of the communities, that fork the founders is going over really, you know, and so that's something I've been using, forqueamos los fundadores. And that like kind of like a hook. They're like, wait, what? How does that work? You know, so I think we're getting some traction. We're very unique. And so Hive Columbia is the tool. And that's through Value Plan, run by Crimson Clad and Guilty Parts. It's they're super stingy and it's hard to like get money. I have to like basically spend money and then beg them to give it back to me. Which kayak it's probably the way it should be, right? And they have to beg the DHF for funds. That's a whole complicated issue. It's about politics, these decentralized politics, which it's like a new world. You know, I feel like anthropologists will be studying us in the future how we put together these things. But it's interesting, and we're getting stuff put together. And so it could be cool. It could be cool to maybe get the Hive Columbia team together and maybe do a video with Bob, or we'll see what we're up to when you're here.
Yeah. And like I said, my whole itinerary is completely open. And you know, I'm not in a fixed place for a fixed amount of time. So that I'm open to opportunities and see where I go. Yeah.
When you say, Eco, about nobody's in charge, it's very reminiscent of when Claiborne put his hand up and said, "Would the DAO like to hire me?" In Discord, and we all sort of went, "I don't know, who do we ask? How do you write your own job description, you write your own resume, and then you just say, well, this matches this, and just hire yourself." Like, it's a very funny vibe. Like, we really got to feel our way through it.
Right. And Claiborne is a great example. I personally am happy with what he's done so far. I'm really happy about his salary level. One of the things, and this is just living in Colombia for a long time, I don't like to see, and you see this all over, it's not on Hive. This is so common. I'm a founder, I'm a dev, I deserve $300,000 a year. And it's like,
CEO.
do you really? Like, and so there's this geo arbitrage going on where, like, in a lot of parts of the world, $50,000 is a lot of money and it's well paid. And you know that's $4,000 a month around here. Just to put it in perspective, it's been some bear market, so I've tapered back and kind of tried to figure out what I need to live on recently, because there was a point where we just had a lot of money and we were buying land and building houses and hiring people, and that kind of don't track it as closely when it's just a lot of money coming out of magical computer. It's a bear market, so okay, what do I need to live on? I'm getting by, I think, pretty comfortably at about $1,600 a month. And obviously, I have 2 employees right now. I have a wife, I have a family, in-laws, and I'm the main guy. Everybody does their part, but like if there's a problem, we're going to Eco to help us, And so I could get by on less if none of that was true, but it is true. And so $1,600 a month, that number seems incredibly low still to people in the Western world. And so if I was making $4,000 a month, that would be a really good wage for me. And so founders, developers, people making $250,000 a year, it almost seems to me like a hindrance on a lot of projects. And we Splinterlands with 2 rounds of layoffs. I wondered, like, are you going to get to the point where you hire talented people in the developing world? And I thought that, and Claiborne is a great example. He's an expat in one of them South Asian countries, right? Thailand,
I think it's Thailand. Yeah.
Thailand, yeah. Yeah, and so I imagine he's in a similar situation where the cost of living is low. He doesn't really want to be poor, but he's now with $50,000 a year, he's making enough to make it like worth his while and he works full time. It seems like to me. I don't know, like maybe he would already be doing a lot of the Discord stuff, but that's intense. I'm so independent now that I don't know that I could do that, do what he does. In terms of like hourly Discords, I like to stand up a few times a day. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about it? The job he's doing. I mean, I think it's worth paying.
I think so. He's been around for a while. We know he knows his stuff. Just today there was a probably yesterday your time perhaps, but there was a possibility of a collaboration with the Sushi Swap team where we organise a bond, something along those lines, and he's bounced it off the guys in Discord, got some momentum behind it, wrote out a proposal for it with as much detail as he had. He's invited the Sushi Swap guys into our Discord to talk it through, answer any questions. To me, it seems like a no-brainer. If we're risking 100 grand, I think it was 110 all up. We're risking 110, but to get that, okay, new project by the founders of Sushi Swap. It's all names, right? It's all credibility. We've got the same
Yep.
guys there. Then that's what gets attention and that's what gets us noticed. And on top of that, whatever the actual product is, right? The bond, the liquidity pool, Sushi Swap V3, I think was being bandied around. So it's a new DeFi protocol. All of that is like, yes, great, but he's seen this opportunity and known our community and worked out how best to introduce this idea, how to gauge interest, how to not waste time if nobody wants it. So yeah, I think just it would be easy for an employee to say, "Oh, it's my day off," and just not
Yeah.
take the opportunity,
Yeah.
right? But he's passionate. He's here for a reason.
I think we need a missionary, right? And he's filled that role.
Yeah.
And on that, we have 2 minutes left on the Zoom clock before we get cut off. So in like winding down rapidly, anything you want to like push, plug, promote, pimp before
Yes,
time's
I
up?
do. If there are smaller players out there, either inland or looking to get into land, consider swapping with me. I'm taking common naturals, rare naturals. You can swap with me straight up. All of ours have building in a box, so try to grab a building in a box, or reach out to me. I'll check the market, quote you a price in DEC, and then I'll just replace the plot because we're not actually selling right now. We're just swapping around because we think land will be more expensive later. But come on in. You know, if you have a couple of plots spread out, get them all into 41 with us. Just anybody, reach out to me. If you see any plots on Abe Brockman, Eco Instant, or treasure.hoard that are in the region you want, reach out to me. I'm negotiable. All of those are up for swapping. So yeah, get involved. And we got a place, we got a home for you. There's a couple of other regions that are working together, but it's like 3 that I know of, and we're one of those 3. I think that we're going to be the least salty region. I'm gonna take all that tax money to desalinate our region. We're going to be the least salty region in Pretoria. And so let's come on, reach out to me. Let's have a good time in Pretoria.
All right. And they can just find you on Discord as Eco Instant.
Yeah, so in the Splinterlands, I'm regional manager Eco, but my name is Eco Instant, no space. Eco Instant on Hive, peakd.com/@Eco Instant. And yeah, figure out if you can't figure out how to contact me, I don't want you in my region.
And on that, I am Boba Fett. This has been Splinterlands 101. Peace out.